Welcome to the call, All Millionaires. My name is Alma Nantwi, and I am so honored to be the host of these calls this evening. Thank you all so very much for calling in, and let me be the first person to welcome all of you to this self-esteem development training call, Obsessed with Success. Just in case this is your first time calling in, let me be the one to inform you guys that we actually have these calls every single Wednesday, and they're always filled with strategies and tips on self-esteem development, entrepreneurship, as well as secrets of the super wealthy. These calls can honestly change your life the way they have mine. Now, I have the honor and the privilege to introduce to the line Mr. Haziq Ali. Mr. Ali helps people out for a living, and he loves giving back and providing service like he does for us each and every week on these calls, right? Mr. Ali has so much knowledge and wisdom with an uncanny level of awareness. Because of this, we affectionately call him the Wizard. Mr. Ali is an author, a self-esteem development expert, my personal coach, mentor, and my friend. Now, coming right up to the line is Mr. Haziq Ali. Are you on the line, sir?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. Please take it away.
Okay. Thank you very much, millionaires, for being here and being here on time. We have a whole lot to cover in our short time together. I hope you're somewhere where you can take notes. And if you can't take notes, then I hope you are already on Dear Millionaire so you can get the replay. We keep the replay up a full week. A lot of people call in to hear the replays, and I get it. It's like you're driving around and safety first. It's good to listen to the calls twice or three times sometimes anyway, because a lot of times, since we're getting it in audio version, your mind will still be thinking of one thing when here comes something else rolling down the path, right? We're going to cover what stress is. We're going to cover how it affects your body. We're going to cover whether what parts of placebo and nocebo effect are kind of like operating when you're talking about stress. We're going to talk about different ways to kind of feel more at peace at work. I'm going to give you like some tips to meditating. We're going to go through an intention exercise, and I'm going to show you how to journal for stress relief. And we're going to get all of this done in the next few minutes, so I hope you are ready. Millionaires, the American Medical Association has reported that 60% of our physical illness comes from stress. I'm going to say that again. The American Medical Association. This isn't somebody, who went to a seminar. This isn't something, not that there's anything wrong with seminars, but I'm saying this isn't like somebody, this isn't that weird world that we walk in sometimes, some of us, where we understand laws of attraction and quantum physics and, all of these things that are kind of like food when people have too much parroting skills and not enough critical thought. No, this is the American Medical Association. The American Medical Association has drawn the line in the sand. They have flat out told you that 60% of physical illness comes from stress, and if they said 60%, it's more like 80. What is stress? I'm going to sum it all up for you really quick, real simple. It's fight or flight instinct. It's a physiological response that pops up whenever your mind feeds your reticular activation system with some stimuli that says, hey, and the signal to the brain says, hey, we either need to run or we need to fight this. When the hypothalamus, it's called, experiences this stressor signal, that's what signals adrenaline. That's what signals cortisol, right? And the whole point is that when this stuff happens and it's increasing your blood sugar and getting you ready for action, it's also increasing the blood pressure. It's also increasing the blood level of all these other chemicals that pop into your mind. Okay, let's go through it. The brain. the brain gets this steady flow of cortisol. And listen, that can damage your short-term memory. It can start to reduce the gray matter inside your mind, the thinking stuff that your mind uses, right? Well, look at the mouth. The same stress hormone is what dries your mouth out. Now you can't produce saliva, right? Sometimes it gets to the point where all this stored up stress makes people grind their jaws at night, grind their teeth. They call it bruxism, right? What about your nose? Persistent tension will start getting your allergies flaring up, right? Now all of a sudden, you know, they're looking at studies that'll tell you that it starts to prompt these negative immune responses even in your olfactory places, even in your nose, your senses, right? The heart. Whenever you got high anxiety going on, stress hormones start to mess with your cardiology. It starts to shrink the arteries, right? Because it tenses up real quick. Now, cardiovascular disease can set in, can't it? Right? Look at your fertility, especially the ladies. Stress alters these signals, right, to the part of the brain that regulates all of the hormones, that regulates all of the eggs. It tells the ovaries when to release the eggs. If you have high levels of stress, you're affecting the body's main reproductive hormones. Don't get me started on if somebody's pregnant, right? What about the stomach? Stress slows the intestinal tracts, right? It ups the chances of inflammation, which is where you get pain, gas, diarrhea. Stress can even change the balance of your, you know, the bacteria in your gut, which weakens all of your immune system. Your back. All your back muscles tense. Sometimes you get in the car, right? And maybe your lower back is all tight. Well, all of that's from the adrenaline. Your body's getting all this adrenaline. It's trying to fight it off. Now you got pain and spasms in your neck, right? What about your waistline? Oh, he ain't bring that up. Your waistline. Anxiety can even hurt your metabolism, right? They just put out a new study that says that women who experienced one or more stressful events during the previous 24 hours, that's only one day, burned 104 fewer calories in the 7 hours after eating some kind of high-fat meal than people who stayed stress-free. What are we saying here? We're saying that stress is not very good for you. So we didn't decide to spend this whole call just banging the bell. Our whole thing is like, what are we going to do about it now, right? So what I'm going to do is give you like 8 different ways that you can just release yourself from stress even when you're at work. 8 different ways that you can release yourself from stress even while you're at work. But before I do, I want you to consider something. Do you think that you can think yourself better? There's this lady named Lisa Rankin. She wrote a book called Mind Over Medicine. That's a good one to write down. Mind over medicine. I know every morning we do this affirmation where we're like, I am completely healthy, right? But is it true that you can do this? Or is this just something we say because it makes us feel better? Well, I'm going to tell you something. According to doctors all over the world, and a lot of it's compiled in a book called Mind Over Medicine. Again, it's called Mind Over Medicine, Scientific Proof that you can heal yourself. And Miss Rankin, what she did, right, she was already a health nut. She's one of them people that drinks the green juice all the time. You know, one of my business partners actually, like, he's a CEO. You know, you'll walk in his office sometimes and he'll have this big jar of this green juice. And when he drinks it, you would think he was taking some kind of shot, you know, but, you know, like a vodka or tequila or something. But it's just really dark green vegetables and all kinds of, like, you know, I guess certain fruits and whatnot. But it's green, I tell you that. Well, this lady was the same way. She was a health nut, you'd probably call her. Lots of hiking, doing her daily yoga, getting good sleep, making sure she avoids all the harmful toxins, right? But listen, isn't it true that sometimes the people who have these extremely healthy habits still end up getting sick? My daddy was one of them. You know, I talk about it in a song I wrote about it where it's like, this dude barely ate out of cans. You hear me? Like his brother has farms everywhere. He did eat microwave food quite a bit, but I mean, he was always exercising. He was always, well, he still died of prostate cancer, right? Now, she was going through the same thing when she was serving all of her clients. You know, vegan diets, people that are working out, they're sleeping soundly every night, they're taking their vitamins every morning, but some of them are still mysteriously fatigued all the time, aches, gastrointestinal disturbances, all these different types of symptoms that you would expect in people that are eating a bunch of crap. And so she would run all of these tests, and she'd be trying to figure out, like, man, what is causing all of this? And every now and then you pick up something that results in a complete resolution of the symptoms, but most times she'd be just puzzled, baffled. So this became an obsession of hers. You know, she was really like set herself on trying to crack this code. So it eventually got to the point where she started asking personal questions. Hey, what do you love about yourself? Hey, what's missing from your life? We're going to get to this in a minute, but you're going to see this all ties in with where we're going with this training. Are you in a romantic relationship? If so, are you happy? If not, do you wish you were? Are you fulfilled at work? Do you feel like you're in touch with your life's purpose? Do you feel sexually satisfied? Do you express yourself creatively? Do you feel financially stable? Right? Are you stressed about money? If you had a genie in a bottle and they could just change something about your life, what would you wish for? The patient's answer started giving her way more than she got from any lab test, way more than she got from her years in school and all of her research skills. It turns out that these patients weren't unhealthy because of bad genes or poor habits or rotten luck. These patients weren't unhappy and unhealthy because of their diet or their workout routine. These patients were unhealthy because they were lonely. These patients were unhealthy because they were miserable in their relationships. They were stressed out about work. They were freaked out about their finances. They were depressed. Now, on the other side, she had all these patients who ate crap, forgot to take their supplements, never exercised, and seemingly enjoyed perfect health. Think about that for a minute. But when they responded to these same questions, what you found out is that their lives were filled with love, fun, meaningful work, creative expression, spiritual connection, right? All these other traits that differentiate them from the sick health enthusiasts. In other words, millionaires, disease is really dis-ease. She eventually narrowed it down to two questions. One, what do you think might lie at the root of your illness? And two, what does your body need to heal? Man, they would come with the answers. I need an antidepressant. I need to lose 20 pounds. I hate my job. I need more me time. I must divorce my spouse. I have to finish my novel. I need to hire a nanny. I need to make more friends. I need to forgive myself. I need to love myself. I need to stop being a pessimist. Wow, right? Now, it's not to say that all the patients were ready to do what their intuition was telling them, but this is the thing. A lot of times, if you will move to that new city, quit that job, leave that significant other who's putting you in a toxic situation, the results you'll achieve could be astonishing. Even smaller steps, talk to the boss, you know, actually talk the problem out with your significant other or this business partner you have. See a counselor. This stuff helps. Because your physical is a printout of your emotional, your spiritual, and your mental. Your physical is just a printout. So real quick, before we get to how to do it at work, let's go through sort of a feel great checklist. This is 6 different sort of like checklist points to help you kind of see where you are in terms of like feeling great. Where you are in terms of feeling great. All right, 1. Healthy relationships. You have a strong network of family and friends and loved ones and colleagues. Number 2, healthy ways to spend your time. Whether you work inside the home, whether you work out the home, I know we have a lot of entrepreneurs on the line. What do you do to make your days meaningful? You know, setting your goals beforehand so you can get that boost of the hormone that makes you feel good. I think it's serotonin. That helps you feel great after you. No, it's dopamine. Excuse me, it's dopamine. Number 3. So number 2 is a healthy, meaningful way to spend your days. Number 3, a healthy, creative life, spiritually, sexually, financially, that allows you to meet all your essential needs. That's number 3 on your feel great checklist. Like, how great do you feel? These are important questions. Number 4, a healthy mental and emotional life. When you feel optimistic, you feel happy, you're free of fear and anxiety and depression and all this other mental crap. Number 5, a healthy lifestyle that supports your physical health, right? That works your body, you know, that feeds you with good nutrition, regular exercise, adequate sleep, avoidance of unhealthy addictions. And number 6 would be a healthy living environment. How free are you from toxins, radiation, natural disaster hazards? There are all kinds of things that, you know, there's a company called Sprayology that is incredible because they have all of these lifestyle accessories. And I'm going to give you some apps to use, et cetera, and so forth. But write down Sprayology, because if there is one thing that can help you change your life, it is being able to reduce stress. And what you see a lot of times with Sprayology, and a reason, you know, not even to spend too much time on it, but you're talking about things they have like body balance, which helps you get that brain health back, you know, or the immunio booster, you know, which is the main thing stress does is it reduces the effectiveness of your immune system. You know, you've got this stress relief spray that they give you, which basically helps with your cardiac output and keeps your arteries from constricting and raising your blood pressure. On and on and on. The diet power helps with your metabolic function from if you're overstressed. Sprayology is amazing. But here are 8 other ways to kind of be peaceful at work. These are 8 other ways to kind of keep from tallying up all your sick days, right? Because what we're finding, even on a hyper business level, is that sickness and disengagement at the office is costing the United States alone about $500 billion a year. Then when you tack on all of this work-related stress that's making people have to call out sick, that's another $300 billion. So right now, all you'll see is science looking for ways to help the worker bees be more productive. Now, as you know, our way to get the worker bees out the way is to make sure that we become entrepreneurs. But even as an entrepreneur, you've got to do the work. I said it in Dear Millionaire, ambition equals stress. So here are some ways you can detach at work. No matter whether you work in the home or out the home. If your goal is feeling better, you got to get your head out of it. Your heart can be in it. That's good, but get your head out of it. All right, here's number 1. Do somebody a 5-minute favor. Did you know that it's not always volunteering or going out to do you know that even a smile is charity? Even just helping somebody out with their work, that does so much to help you connect with other people, which is a huge stress killer. You can do the same thing by getting a cup of coffee for somebody else who's having a bad day. Spot a need and serve. That's number 1. Number 2, play with a puppy. Did you know people that own puppies live longer? Statistics say they live longer. So beg your boss if you got to, and say if you can bring your dog to work. Studies have already shown, you can tell them science backs this up, that when employees bring their dogs to work, they feel less stressed, even though they're just as productive as they were when the dog wasn't with them. Number 3, this is going to be a mind blower for some of us, but let yourself procrastinate. Now, I wouldn't go too far. There's a great app you can get. One of my friends put me onto an incredible app. It's called Pomodoro. No, it's not. It's called Pomodoro. Yeah. I went with Pomodoro because that's a type of tomato, I think. I'm not a chef. But the app is called Pomodoro, P-O-M-O, drone, Pomodoro. And what that does is it allows you to program 20 or 25 or 15-minute work periods and then a 5-minute break. During that 5-minute break, really take a break. Play a little bit of Minesweeper. Play a little bit of Candy Crush. Just don't get addicted to it. Because what studies show is that those who play a game for a minute, they generate ideas considerably more creatively than those who got right to the task. So let yourself procrastinate a little bit before you get started. So funny because our whole call last week was on mastering procrastination. But here's the whole thing. When you can get your conscious mind busy, your subconscious, which is way more powerful, can plow away at the problem. Here's number 4. Disappear for a minute. Go take a 10-minute walk. You can even put it on your calendar. Don't think about work while you're gone. Listen to a podcast. Make a phone call to an old friend, which, by the way, is another stress killer. Do a walking meditation. Recite your affirmations as you're walking around. Bring a friend who'll just talk about something completely non-work related. And God knows we all have those, right? Number 5, hide your phone. Hide your phone. Do you know even if you're not using it, just because you can see the phone, it hinders your ability to focus? Because you know what we do? We hear those little boop, boop, and those things hit a deep-seated signal in our DNA because we're used to warnings and, our ancestors was running from bombs and whatnot. It's just like it just messes with you. You're always waiting on the phone to go off. So hide the phone. Put it in a drawer. Leave it in your coat pocket. The mere presence of a phone also makes people not trust each other as much. It makes people not like each other as much than if it weren't present. Can you believe that? There are so many good things about hiding your phone. So that's number 5. Here's number 6. Talk with your coworkers. Now, I wouldn't suggest gossip, which is talk about other people. I wouldn't even talk about events. I would suggest going with talking about ideas. Social time is really valuable. Now, the thing about gossip is that it causes cortisol. Just gossiping, talking bad about somebody when they're not around, if you're going to gossip, then make it good talk about them, right? But here's the thing. If you truly detach, if you just talk and laugh and joke for a minute, you will reap productivity. You will reap wellness benefits. But you got to keep the conversation office free. Number 7, take a break before lunch. People who take breaks, again, that's back to the Pomodoro app. People that take breaks, they even teach you this in accelerated learning techniques. You go hard, and then you take a break. You're going to feel more restored. You're going to feel less emotionally exhausted, right? You don't have to wait till the afternoon. Matter of fact, they tell you, according to science, that if you take the break in the morning, you're going to have more energy to power through the afternoon. Morning breakers are more likely to say they're satisfied with their jobs also. Here's number 8 real quick. End the day like you mean it. End the day like you mean it. This is a real recent study. Right in 2016, it said that if people think they got to be reachable after work, they feel less in control. They have more cortisol, which is a stress hormone, if I haven't mentioned it enough yet this call. Another study shows as long as your work gets done, putting in more hours don't even make you a better worker in your boss's eyes. Don't nobody care about all that time you're spending. You're making it way hard for nothing. For nothing. Let's get it together, right? So then, now that we talked about kind of like how to detach when you're at work, how do you attach? How do you get yourself in a place where you can set intention? Isn't setting intention really, 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 really important? Isn't setting intention because listen, how we spend our days is how we spend our lives. Isn't that true? Write that down. How we spend our days is how we spend our lives, right? So what I wanted to do was give a small intention exercise. This actually comes from Deepak Chopra's daughter. Go figure. This is like a quick little couple steps to you sort of like forming an intention for your life. All right, step number 1. Because the whole key to this, right, is for you to be more present. You know, it's not always about, you know, meditating, even though that's super powerful, and more billionaires than you can shake a stick at tell you that's the way they start their day. Right? As a matter of fact, even before we get to that, you know what? I'll save that for a minute. All right, so intention. Here's the first step. Set aside 5 minutes to meditate. Set aside 5 minutes to meditate. Or just sit quietly, if you like that better. Meditation can kind of scare some of us. We're like, I'm not one of them. Well, how about 5 minutes to just sit down, where you feel happy, you feel secure, no one's going to barge in with your phone and interrupt you. Number 2, settle down. Breathe in deeply. Exhale just as deeply. Don't try to control your breath. Don't try to control anything. Just let it flow. Let the rhythm relax you. Step number 3, start asking yourself some of those questions we went over earlier, right? Don't even feel the need to answer the question. Just experience the answer, right? Who am I? And ask again, who am I? What do I want? And ask again, what do I want? Each time you're pausing for a few seconds. How can I serve? How can I serve? What does the game want from me? You know, or what does the universe want from me? The game. Sorry, y'all. What does God want from me? You don't have to have a clear answer. You don't have to have a clear answer. These are 6 strategies that she suggests. You know, her name is Malika Chopra. You know, the name of her book is My Somewhat Messy Journey to Purpose. I wouldn't suggest this one more than Mind Over Medicine. You know, obviously here we're just about self-esteem development, and it's very important to me that you know all the powers that you have mentally, because I think it's all 80% mindset. A lot of people agree with me that study this stuff. It's called My Somewhat Messy Journey to Purpose, Peace, and Joy. She talks about a principle that allows us to all find our way forward, right? So that after you kind of like start filling away and you start deciding that you have figured out what you want to change, right? Because we just talked about how to detach. What about getting intentional? Well, she calls it intent. Intent is her acronym for it. And it's incubate, which is quiet your mind to tap into your deepest intentions. See where this all leads. Notice, where you start to pay attention to your thoughts. Pay attention to your thoughts. We teach a lot of that in Affirmation Nation, right? Where you start to pay attention to what your thoughts just gave you, what they tell you about what gives you meaning. What does your radar point you towards, right? Trust would be the 3rd letter, I-N-T. The T would be for trust. Have confidence in that Noah inside, right? In that inner knowing, and these messages that God is sending you. That's your true north and your compass, right? Have trust. Number 4, express. There's something about articulation, isn't there? Write it down. Say it out loud, too, though. Write it down, but say it out loud, too. There's something about hearing yourself say it, isn't it? Number 4. This is not number 4. Number 5, nurture. Be gentle with yourself, right? Love on yourself a little bit. Don't beat yourself up when you have one of those negative thoughts. No, you just acknowledge it. Love on yourself, and then bring on in what you want. This isn't no straightforward path all the time, y'all. A lot of times it's zigzagging, right? It's like that letter Z. That's okay. Airplanes do the same thing. Birds do the same thing. It's not all about we're trying to keep on the straight and narrow, but what I'm saying is that our path isn't always just simple and laid out for us. Give yourself opportunities to try. Give yourself mercy for allegedly failing, which, as we know, is really just a step to greatness. It's crucial to the process. And then the T is take action. Once you've figured out your intention, don't just sit around and wait, right? Don't just wait for it to knock on your door or it magically manifest because you're saying your affirmation. You got to act like you want it before you can act like you have it. You know, there's this famous story from a rabbi. It's a famous, like, Jewish tale where he's like, he's lying on his deathbed, right? You know, this is all about intention. He's lying on his deathbed, tears are just streaming down his face. And one of his followers asked him why he was crying. He's like, oh, man, if God asked me why I wasn't like Moses, I'll say I wasn't blessed with that kind of leadership ability. I wasn't blessed with that kind of wisdom. But if God asked me, why weren't I, why wasn't Hazik? Why didn't you fulfill your own highest potential? Why didn't you find your inner self? What can I say then? It's important that you live with intention. It's important that you set out what it is you're here for. That is going to go such a long way to reducing your stress. And we're going to talk in a minute about the most incredible way to reduce stress that I know of. But while I'm giving you these exercises, I also wanted to give you a 5-minute meditation. This one is more like a meditation exercise, right? Russell Simmons has made it kind of like everybody's kind of excited about it. Russell Simmons goes so far as to say, I can't even, if I leave my house without meditating, it's almost like I left my house without brushing my teeth. You know, but billionaire after billionaire agrees with Russell. So I just want to share with you, and we've done whole calls sort of taking it down this road, so I don't want to repeat anything because obviously you can just go into the archives and find that stuff. But here's the point. You can reduce anxiety levels by up to 22% just by practicing regular meditation. You form new and permanent neural connections in your brain because meditation trains your mind to focus on the moment instead of worrying about what occurred in the past, of course, which is anxiety, you know, that causes depression, or what will happen in the future, which is depression. All you need is 5 minutes a day. Anybody can do it, and the more consistent you are, the easier it will become. As always, millionaires, you only need enough discipline to make it a habit. So grab you a timer, grab a notepad, grab a pen, right? Sit up straight in a comfortable chair, right? Remove your shoes, take off your socks. Anybody can do this. And some of you aren't going to do it. There's probably like a couple hundred of us on the line right now. I'd be excited if 20 people inbox me like, wow, I tried this. But just as with the intention exercise, I want to challenge you, millionaires, to just try this at least 3 times. Not 4, not 2. Try it at least 3 times. You can go 4 if you want. But listen, not 1, not 2. How's that? Not 1, not 2. Try it 3 times. Okay, first minute. So write this down. Minute 1, just breathe deep. Rest your hands on the tops of your thighs. Keep your legs hip distance apart and your feet flat on the floor. Close your eyes. You know, you can leave them open if you want, but just let them rest, unfocused, a few feet in front of you. Now, you know, some days you may want to do it with your eyes closed. Some days you may want to do it with your eyes open. You know, if you leave your eyes open, it strengthens your ability to focus. Sometimes on Affirmation Nation, somebody will be all loud and I won't even say anything. Sometimes I will, but sometimes I won't because it strengthens our ability to stay focused even though all these external distractions happen, don't they? Now observe how your feet feel on the floor. Maybe they seem tingly, or maybe you feel the hardness of the wood against your toes. This is when you start deepening your breathing, either through the nose, through the mouth, or both, whatever's natural. We're not judging nothing. We're not trying to control nothing. Just breathe. Inhale for a count of 4 and exhale for a count of 6. Minute 2, find your pace. Now you stop counting. A minute has gone by. Allow your breathing to fall into an easy rhythm. Pay attention to what your breaths feel like, not overly deep, not overly shallow, and then compare that with your usual rhythm, right? Most people start to take these short, weak breaths, or you notice that that's what you normally do. You'll notice that like all through the day, you've been taking little baby breaths. You rarely just breathe super deep, and all you're doing is depriving your blood of oxygen. All that's doing is lowering your energy levels. Breathe deep. Find your natural pace and breathe, right? Tune into the rising and falling sensation in your body. Experience it. Really feel it. Your belly, right? Your shoulders. Feel it. You should feel like almost like that rising and falling. All of a sudden, just you paying attention to your heart, you just start hearing your heart in your ears. It's amazing. It really is. It shows you how your reticular activation system works because you didn't even notice your heartbeat before, but surely it's been there. I mean, it better have been, right? Number 3, even though quantum physics will say something different, I ain't even going to scare y'all, though. All right, number 3, stay focused. Keep staying aware. Random thoughts, you're going to get work stuff pop into your head, some person you're supposed to return a call to, deadlines. Don't push them out. Don't linger. Just imagine each one like it's a little cloud. Oh, look at the cloud, right? That helps you acknowledge it without responding all emotionally, like get away from me and shoot fly and all of that. If the thoughts still don't drift away from your mind, just jot it down in a notepad because that's one to pay attention to. Jot it down, and then you'll notice it leaves your mind. That's why you brought the pen and pad in there. Here's minute 4. Now we're on minute 4. So minute 1 was breathe deep. Minute 2 was find that pace. Minute 3 was stay focused. Now we're on minute 4. Just relax. Minute 4 is relax. Just release your focus on your breathing and just sit there. Remind yourself there's nothing to do. There's nothing to fix. There's nothing to change. Just relax. Number 5 is give thanks. Now you're in minute number 5. Give thanks. Think about something you're grateful for, like spending time with your friends or having a chance to meditate in the first place. Anybody can do this, right? Gradually transition your thoughts into how you physically feel. Check you out with your working fingers and toes if you're blessed to have that. Check you out with your full, lungs with breath in them if you're blessed to have that. Just check you out breathing with no pain. Gratitude. Now open your eyes. If you had them closed, stand up and tackle your day, millionaire. Okay? Calm, cool, collected. You the other side of the pillow right now, right? You cool because you centered yourself. You find it. Now, since we were talking about gratitude, this will be the last one that I thought was really important to give you today. I hope you've gotten a lot out of this, but we cannot get out of here without talking about how to give thanks. You guys know I'm a big believer in journaling. I'm a big believer, I don't necessarily even believe you should share your journal with other people. Although there are all kinds of different journaling, there's all kinds of different journals. But what we're talking about right now is how to journal to give thanks. Because gratitude makes you feel happier. Gratitude boosts your energy levels. Gratitude makes you healthier. Gratitude makes you stronger and more resilient. Do you know this? Gratitude improves your relationships. Gratitude makes you a better person, a nicer person, a more kind person. Gratitude. They've got this whole thing, it's called the Greater Good Science Center out at the University of California, right? They did a study that shows that gratitude rewires your brain to appreciate the things in your relationships, to appreciate the things where you're able to bounce back from loss and trauma because now you have this grateful stance towards life. People that are grateful for their health tend to stop doing behavior that messes it up. They exercise on average 33% more. They sleep an extra half hour at night. Gratitude millionaires. So, how do you journal for gratitude? Well, first key, and here's 4 quick ones, here's 4 quick strategies, is go for depth rather than breadth. What I mean by that is when you're gratitude, because I've experienced it sometimes. It's like I'll do a success journal, and every day I might not feel as successful. So if you don't have supreme discipline, you might abandon that practice. But if you're gratitude journaling, then what you'll find is that it's a lot deeper and heartfelt, even though you might not write in it as much. But sometimes you might be going through something that's really traumatic, or you might be having an experience you want to make last forever. Well, this is the time to do a gratitude journal entry. This will help you savor what you appreciate, and it'll keep your journal from becoming just a list of nice thoughts. Here's the second strategy. Write consistently. Now, it's okay if you can't do it every day. Once or twice a week is enough to boost your happiness and kill some stress, but do yourself a favor and get those thoughts out of your head. Not to mention, it can turn into all kinds of goodies later, all kinds of ways to help other people, products you may be able to sell. You never know what can come from these thoughts instead of dismissing them. Number 3, third strategy, write freely. Who cares about the grammar? Who cares about how to spell? Spelling bee does not come with the slot on the Forbes list. Who cares? Plus, nobody's going to see the journal unless you want somebody to see the journal. Just let yourself flow. 4th strategy is don't think of it as like it's just another self-improvement project. This is just you reflecting on life, man. This is just you looking at people and things like they're above ordinary, because that's all it takes to make a life extraordinary, just a little bit extra to the ordinary. These are things that people have done for you. Maybe you're just looking at above and beyond things that people just looked out for, because it's not all about us. Sometimes it's time for you to be grateful for people in your life. And that might be one of the most important lessons about trying to become more grateful, that it ain't about us. Millionaires, it is all about gratitude. It is all about gratitude. I'm going to give you a couple little apps that might be able to help you kind of like kill the stress. This one called Buddhify. I already told you about Pomodoro. Buddhify is really cool. What it'll basically do is give you all of these sort of solo or guided meditations. It costs a couple of dollars, but it's called Buddhify. Buddhify, Buddhify. All right. There's another one called Headspace. That one was created by a monk, a trained Tibetan monk, right? There's another one called Calm. All of these cost a couple of dollars per month, but how bad do you want it? Here's a free one, because I know how y'all do. Here's a free one. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. It's called Will, WHIL. It's created by the founders of the yoga one, Lululemon. And basically it helps you train your mind and your body, which is what yoga does. Yoga is basically meditation for the body almost, for lack of a better way to put it. And then there's another free one called the Insight Timer. The Insight Timer. And it gives you all kinds of like cool sounds. That's a couple for you. Listen, millionaires, I hope you got something from this. How we spend our days is how we spend our lives, right? And the willingness to accept responsibility for the thoughts in your head is the price of greatness. Winston Churchill said that, or something really close to it. I'm not looking at his biography right now. But I want you to understand that even when you pay attention to boredom, life gets interesting. Even when you pay attention to things that you normally take for granted, life just becomes this rose garden you're walking through. You got to love it. Millionaires, either your mind has to expand to match your goals, or your goals will start to shrink to match your mind. At MillMind and send it to the number 81010. Again, you text message at MillMind to the number 81010, and voila, you have just joined Dear Millionaire, the world's first text message service for personal growth and self-development. We are here to keep you stress-free. I will warn you, though, and this is the last thing that I will leave you with before I get out of here, I think that one of the best things that we can do for ourselves is think of stress like it's a good thing. I know we spent this whole call talking about how to avoid it, and isn't that just like us at Obsessive Success? But the whole point is that I want to encourage you to think about stress like it's good, right? There's some really wild research that just now came out where what they found out is that people who experienced a lot of stress the previous year had a 43% increased risk of dying. But that was only true for those who believed that stress was harmful for their health. In other words, perception of stress as bad has as much to do with it as the stress itself. Now, I know this sounds crazy, right? But this is the point. People who experienced a lot of stress but didn't see it as harmful were no more likely to die. They were no more likely to have bad health symptoms. So that means we've got to start with any thoughts of stress with thoughts about stress not being so bad. Imagine what that could mean for your energy, your sleep, your relationships with other people if you decided to see stress as your fuel, not your enemy. So let's run through a quick few of them before we get out of here, just to help you switch your paradigm. All right, so your heart might start pounding when fight or flight kicks in. Rather than seeing this as a sign of panic, what if you decided your body's doing what it's supposed to do to prepare you for whatever's coming up? Maybe it's a big presentation. What if your heart pounding is a sign you actually care? And that's okay. Do you understand that sometimes stress shows up as fun or excitement? What about the jitters? The jitters. Sometimes your body might literally be shaking, right? Well, if you feel on edge, if you feel hyper aware, maybe even a little antsy, recognize that once again your body's coming to your rescue. It's heightening your senses. You're like a superhero right now, right? You're all aware of everything, right? You hear the ants walking on the leaf, right? Take advantage of that. Accomplish your goal, Superwoman, Superman. Maybe you get stressed out and you want to call home. You want to call your mom. Well, yeah, that's the need to connect. And that's also natural. It's critical to your survival. When stress hits, your body knows what it needs to do. When stress hits, your body knows it needs the help of other people. So the hormones it releases spur you to do just that. So do it. If you feel like you need to be around somebody or talk, what I'm saying is use those urges to go ahead and listen to your body, listen to your truth. And here's the last one that I just want to leave you with. Because even as you see from that example, it's like you'll mess around and read it like, I'm incapable, you know? No, you're doing what you're wired to do. But here's the point. And if this doesn't kill your stress, nothing will. All suffering comes from self-absorption. All suffering comes from self-absorption. All suffering comes from self-absorption. If you will just decide to speak more in French, oui, instead of Spanish, I, you will find that your stress melts away because people will appreciate you a lot more. You will feel a lot more fulfilled, and you will stop worrying about how people are looking at you because you're so busy concerned with how you can help others. Millionaires, I love you. I hope this was helpful to you. I will see you in the morning for Affirmation Nation. And remember, once again, either your mind has expanded to match your goals or your goals will just shrink to match your mind. Good night. Let's grow.